How is AI training now on all your private data automatically, thanks to big tech? Hey, Katie, I just found this story online. I researched it, and it was 100% true. So right now, Meta and Google have these little things that even without your knowledge, it just automatically appeared in the settings, and you have to opt out. Otherwise, AI says it's learning and training, but what it's really doing is reading all your private stuff. And what do you think about that first?
Yeah, I think this is very alarming because a lot of times, clients will share different documents with me through these sort of websites like a Google Drive because we can both be in there editing at the same time. So I think it's something that it's probably not getting as much publicity as we'd like, and people need to be savvy. And I mean, when you told me this morning, I was kind of blown away by this.
Okay. Yeah. 100%. So basically, how can they even do this? I mean, is this something that they've worked out with politicians? Is this just big tech being big tech? Are they justifying it as like, oh, we're trying to give you a more enhanced experience? What do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to contractually what they can do in their terms and conditions. So a lot of times, I'm guilty of this myself too. You sign up for something or you get an email with
Yeah.
updated terms and conditions, and nobody reads the fine print. It's pages and pages, but a lot of times they update it, and so that it's sort of buried in there.
Yep.
And so it's similar to what some of these online video conferencing platforms did a few years back, Zoom and Teams, right? You had to opt out for them to not record you and use it as training data, which
Yeah.
was also kind of surprising because that's a tool, we use all the time and we like to have private conversations on there. But if you didn't opt out, then that information could be put into their AI.
Yeah. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, definitely. And I know people that the biggest person I know has had over 70 books stolen. This person, of course, has written a ton. But yeah, it's like all this technology is amazing. But in the world of intellectual property, you're investing your time, your blood, your sweat, your tears, your money to create all these things. And then for AI to essentially, it's almost like somebody saying, we're going to give you a house that has all kinds of amenities, but we're going to be spying on you 24/7 in the house, and everything that we record can be used against you.
Yep, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
right? Like, who would do that for physical property? And yet that's what everybody's doing for intellectual property.
right. And I think it's something people aren't even aware of. You hop into these meetings and people have their AI bot assistant and you don't think
Right.
twice, but I always kick those things out of meetings because I don't want the recording surfacing, especially if we're talking about IP strategy, right? Competitors,
Yeah.
highly confidential information that we would never want that to come out later and used
Right.
against us to our detriment.
Yes. Yes. Um, I know it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yep.
So, do you think, I mean, I know we don't give legal advice here, but do you think it's wise for our listeners to at least, like, I've created a couple videos, I'm going to shoot them out. Maybe I'll even link to them in the show notes. Certainly I'm posting them on social, but they are these little 1-minute trainings that people can essentially get, that just shows them what to click to opt out. I mean, do you think that a wise person should consider opting out of some of these things.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
would definitely read through this, watch the videos, right? Especially if it's only a minute or so, and really understand what might be at risk here.
Yeah.
And then I would try and, opt out of that sort of thing, because you just don't know how that information is going to get utilized. And if it's confidential, if it's about your business, anything, it's something you don't want going into the public domain like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, you and I talked about it, the AI pins. We met a guy named Jonas the other day who had somebody literally recording with meta glasses. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been saying we're less than 6 months away from this hitting mainstream. We're um, sounding the alarms, but you need a strategy, because you're going to find yourself in a meeting pretty soon. That, I mean, you even mentioned in a good way that your doctor was recording everything,
Yeah.
to take notes. And I mean, there are cases, and it seems smart, but at the same point, you got to have a strategy.
You do. And I think too, you have to be aware of these sorts of things, because a lot of times you don't even know you're getting recorded, right? And so it's something to certainly ask about. And you
Right.
don't, you have the right to say you don't want yourself recorded. You don't have to give consent for that. So I think it's something you have to be savvy about, and you have to be very strategic about, because you don't want these things coming back to grab you later on.
Yeah. And if somebody insists, like for instance, I do these things called book architect sessions, and we typically do record it for the author. But if I know going in that, okay, they paid for an architect service around their book, they are recording it, I'm going to totally know that everything I say is being recorded. And it's not like, oh, it changes things. But if they set me up and ask me about a competing author or something like that, knowing ahead of time, okay, everything I say is being recorded, it does kind of change the conversation and the tone.
Definitely. It's kind of like going into a conversation initially with maybe a potential partner. And so you have to kind of think through, especially if it's an early meeting without an NDA in place, what are the sort of things I feel comfortable sharing that I know are already protected? And what are the sort of things that are newer and maybe I'm not going to be, that I haven't protected yet, that I don't want to talk about? And kind of, thinking that through. It's the same sort of application here, where maybe there is stuff you feel okay talking about and getting recorded, or that you feel okay getting put out there, but there might be things you're not. So kind of going into it with that mindset, I think,
Mhm.
can help you prioritize what to discuss and what not to discuss.
Yep. Yep. I think you're onto it. So, folks, you need a strategy, even as much as, hey, I'm just going on Facebook, I'm just going on Instagram, I'm just responding to email. It's now everywhere. And so if there's a way for big tech to make money off of your data, they will.
Yeah.
Um, there's there's a book that, there was a movie that came out, The Social Dilemma, but it basically talks about how people's data is more valuable than oil. I mean, it's the most valuable thing on the planet, where if people have their data, they can essentially psychologically know how to sell you anything. So these are I mean, we've seen this. I was in, I mean, everybody's had this experience. Somebody mentions a place, a vacation, a product, and all of a sudden, the next day it's on your device as
Yep.
an ad. I mean, we've seen this for years. They are listening, and you can be paranoid, or you can just say, you know what, I'm gonna just take steps to have a strategy, to have a fence, to protect myself. So folks, we at Instant IP and Wigan and Dana for the traditional IP protection, we're here to help. And we want you to be able to feel safe to keep on creating and innovating, because the opposite is that you just say, well, I'm not going to go online, or I'm just going to hide out. And we were just talking about that, Katie, pre-show. Hiding out is not an answer.
That's right. Exactly.
Yep. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Take precautions and look for the videos. We'll try to share them in the show notes. Otherwise, follow me on the social channels, and I'll post those videos all over. Okay? Thanks. Have a great day.